Hey, what's going on? My name is Michael. Welcome back. In this video, I want to talk about iOS 16. So I'm going to break this video into two parts. My personal wish list on the kind of features and changes I want to see in iOS 16 and what the rumors are actually pointing to. So what is more realistic of what we're actually going to see from Apple in June. So let's go ahead and start with my personal wish list. The first thing has to do with widgets on the home screen. Actually, the first two changes I want. So the first one is just a smaller widget. So you can see here my top two widgets on the home screen, the weather and the calendar widget. They're kind of spaced out, and if you don't really have much information on it, kind of like the calendar widget here, I have no more events today, you can see it's kind of wasted space. So the current smallest widgets on iOS 14 and 15 have taken up 4 icons worth of space. As you can see here in the bottom right corner, it takes up 2x2 grid. I would love to see a 1x2 widget, which is just half the size of the current widget, and I could have way more widgets on my home screen this way, and my home screen setup could just be way more informationally dense. Another change with widgets is I would love to see some interactability with widgets. So for example, if I have the reminders widget on my home screen, I don't have it here, but if I had some reminders I had to do for the day, and as soon as I ticked off that reminder, I would love just be able to check off that reminder right on the home screen. But unfortunately, with these smaller widgets, it only lets you click into the app and then it opens the app. So I have this tick widget here, and I can't check off the individual tasks I have to do. If I click on it, instead, it just opens it in the app. So I actually can't check it off right from the home screen. So this is a change I'd like to see, the option to interact more with your widgets on the home screen. So next is I'd like to be able to change the control center layout. So this has pretty much been the same since iOS 11. The entire layout with your quick panel up here, your now playing panel on the top right, your orientation lock is always in the same spot, and everyone that has an iPhone has their brightness and their volume in this exact layout. So I know that you can change and add your toggles here at the bottom in these very small icons, but what I would like to be able to change is these panels up here. Maybe I want my brightness to be all the way on the left, or maybe I want my media controls to be on the left also. So just the option for a little bit more customizability in Control Center. Like I said, if you jump into settings, Control Center settings is right here, so it wouldn't be that hard for Apple to add this. All we would need is an edit layout button, but you can see right here, all you can do is just change the little controls that you have at the bottom, but some more customizability in Control Center would definitely be appreciated. Okay, next up, I'm sure most of you will agree with this. I would love to be able to change the home screen toggles, or the lock screen toggles rather. So on every single iPhone since the iPhone 10, you have your flashlight on the bottom left and your camera on the bottom right. And the camera makes absolutely no sense, Apple. I mean, come on. You can access your camera by swiping right. So why do you need a camera toggle right there? So let us change these toggles on the lock screen. In all honesty, if they let us change it, I would probably keep my flashlight here just because it's so convenient, but I'd probably have this set up to something else, maybe like Maps or Safari, or maybe even Apple Music. That would be really cool. So let me know in the comments what you would put on your lock screen if Apple let you customize your lock screen toggles. All right, next up is inside the Settings app. And the Settings app really makes absolutely no sense to me. So why is all of this clumped together, but then there is a break, and then music, TV, photos, camera, books, podcasts, and Game Center is all lumped in this, but then TV provider down here is just all alone. It just makes no sense. And there's also no headings. So why is App Store with Wallet and Apple Pay? It just doesn't make any sense. The clumps, in my opinion, are too big, and the organization just makes absolutely no sense. So an entire overhaul of settings would be really nice, and it would make it a lot easier to use. Something similar to what we have on Android would be amazing for iOS 16. All right, the next change I want to see is the Mail app. Now, I don't specifically know what change I want to see, but all I know is the Mail app on iOS 15 is just horrible. It's so slow. The UI, in my opinion, isn't very good. Apple could make a bunch of changes to the Mail app to make it way better. As you may remember, a few years back, Apple did a complete overhaul to the Reminders app because that Reminders app was just horrible, and it was way better. It made it way more usable, and I'd love to see the exact same thing in Mail. Let me know in the comments if you use the Mail app or if you use something better from the App Store. I'm stuck using Apple Mail, but if they don't change it in iOS 16, I am very tempted to switch to something like Spark or another mail client on the App Store. So here's another idea I think would be really cool in iOS 16. So you know how you have to swipe all the way to the edge of your apps to get to your app drawer? Well, what if you could just swipe up from the middle of your screen, just like you can do on Android, to get to all of your apps? I really think it would make a lot more sense, And this really wouldn't be that confusing because a swipe from the very bottom is the gesture to go home, but it's very obvious to the OS if you're doing a swipe from the middle of the screen. So with Apple having very, very precise gestures like this tiny little swipe down for reachability, I think this is definitely something they could do. If you have a bunch of home screens, I mean, I only have 3, but I know some people in my family have 5 or 6 home screens. When they want to get to the app library to see all their apps on their phone, it's kind of annoying to swipe all the way to the edge of your pages just to get to your app library. So it would be awesome if we could just swipe up just like we can do on Android to get to our app library. So this would be really awesome if we could see it in iOS 16. Okay, next up has to do with the notch area. So I would love if we could customize what is able to be seen up here. This would especially make sense with the upcoming iPhone 14, which apparently is getting rid of the notch. So we will have apparently more status options to see up here in the status area. But what if you don't want to see your signal strength? Or what if you don't want to see Wi-Fi? Personally, I would choose to get rid of signal strength and Wi-Fi if I could just see my battery percentage in the top right corner. Because personally, I need to check my battery percentage more than I need to check my signal strength or my Wi-Fi connection strength. And if I want to do that, I can just go into Control Center anyway, and it's right there. So if we could have the option to have a bit more customizability in the what Apple calls the ears of the iPhone, I would choose just to have that battery icon and the percentage in the top right. So maybe some customizability here would be awesome. So next up is icon redesigns. So I don't want a complete redesign of iOS because I really don't want to learn how to reuse it and all my eyes know what every single icon looks like. But every time Apple releases a new version of iOS, we get a couple new icons that have been changed. So for example, with iOS 15, the Maps icon got completely updated and it looks way better in my opinion. So there are a few apps I think Apple could update. Maybe the Photos app that's been using the exact same colorful icon since iOS 7. Maybe Safari could get a bit more depth like it has in the macOS version. And also maybe the music icon. I kind of miss when the music icon was white instead of red like it is now. So we're probably going to see a few minor icon changes in iOS 16, not a whole redesign, but it's always fun when Apple changes up the icons on my iPhone. Okay, next up I want to talk about charging my iPhone. So you know how when your phone is locked and you plug it into power and on the lock screen you get that battery icon, it goes away after a few seconds, and right here where the date is, it tells you your battery percentage. Why couldn't we have more information here that says how long until charged? And also, maybe we could have maximum charging speed, for example. So if you're using Apple's 20-watt USB-C power adapter, it'll tell you if you're taking advantage of the full charging speed. And it'll also tell you 90 minutes until fully charged or 2 hours until fully charged. So this would just be really great. Instead of just telling you that it's charging, it would be nice if Apple could tell you how fast your phone is charging and if you're taking advantage of the maximum charging speed that your iPhone is capable of. Just an idea. Okay, next up, this is probably my most out there crazy idea. What if we got split screen on the iPhone, just like we have it on the iPad? For an iPhone like this is just the normal iPhone 13 Pro, it would be a little bit small to have split screen in horizontal mode like this. But I'm thinking, why can't we just have a top-bottom split screen mode? So if I want to be in Safari and I want to browse the web, why can't I also have music on the bottom of my screen and also Safari? I think this is something Apple definitely could fit. It would look kind of weird on phones like the iPhone 12 and 13 mini, and it may be kind of odd for Apple to have software restrictions like that, as they generally like to have the exact same software experience on all their phones. But a split screen mode would definitely make these Pro iPhones feel a lot more pro indeed. Okay, and one final thing for my wish list. It has to do with the camera. So you know how on the iPhone 13 Pro, you get this automatic macro toggle. You can see there's a button down there, and you can choose if you want the iPhone to auto switch or not. And you can see it's changing the lens for me as I tap this. Well, I want Apple to do the exact same thing, but for the telephoto camera, because it is so frustrating when I hit the 3x button and I take a photo, and then I find that the iPhone ended up taking the photo with the main wide lens, the 1x lens. So the iPhone thinks it's smart enough to know that the lighting situation is not as good for the telephoto lens, and it's just going to take it with the primary lens. But there are situations where I just want to use the telephoto lens. I can tell when it's doing a 3x digital zoom compared to using the telephoto lens. And the system thinks it's smart, but I'm going to say maybe 55-60% of the time it's wrong. Because when I use an app such as Halide here, which actually lets you access, well, I guess I haven't opened it in a while, but when I use a third-party camera app, it actually lets you switch and use the 3x camera. I can tell you that that 3x camera is way better than the software zoom that Apple does. So while this is good for some people, just a little bit more control in this area, maybe a little button here on the bottom right, just letting you know that it's doing digital zoom instead of optical zoom would be a very nice change and something I would really appreciate. Okay, so now to wrap up the video, let's talk about the actual rumors, what they're saying for iOS 16. Now, of course, the rumors are not always correct, and the rumors don't always cover everything. So there may be some surprises that we get from Apple, but here's what the rumors are saying so far. So first, they're saying that support for the iPhone 6S, 6S Plus, and the first generation iPhone SE could potentially be dropped. So iOS 15 is going to be the last software that works with these phones. As you can see here, 6S, 6S Plus. It's honestly impressive that iOS 15 was supported for these devices. So if iOS 16 drops support for these older devices, it really isn't a problem. If it's still supporting the iPhone 7 way back from 2016, that is very impressive. And another rumor is saying that we will not see a complete overhaul to the design. This is from Mark Gurman and also 9to5Mac. So just like I said, we may see some icon changes, but people really want an overhaul to iOS, kind of how we saw in 2013 with iOS 7. But the rumors are pointing towards the fact that this is going to pretty much look the exact same as iOS 15 with maybe a few tweaks here and there, but it's definitely not going to be a huge overhaul to the design. Another rumor is pointing to the fact that notifications are going to be getting a huge overhaul. Now, that is the only wording we have for this rumor, so we have no idea what that means. And it's pretty exciting because we saw a huge overhaul to the notification system and focus modes in iOS 15. And the code for macOS 12.4 beta shows huge potential updates to focus modes, as it says you need to update your software to take advantage of the new features. So it is pretty vague. The people that poked around in the code of the latest macOS beta, it is pretty vague, but we do know that some changes to the focus modes are coming. And from other leakers in the Apple sphere, we know that there is going to be a huge update to notifications and how they're handled on the iPhone. Another rumor is some updates to health. So I really love what Apple has been doing with health. There really isn't any information, any specific information for what updates Apple is going to bring for health. Last year, they brought things like walking steadiness to tell you if you're at risk for a fall, which is really good for seniors. So I really like what they've been doing with health, and if they keep adding really neat features like this to the health app, that would really be appreciated. I love using the health app on my iPhone. It tracks so many metrics that are important to me. I just love using it. One of the rumored features I do remember hearing is a medicine reminder. So if you're someone who has to take medicine every day or every few days, you can set it up in your phone so you don't forget. Another rumor pointed to the fact that the News app is going to be getting a huge update. Now, this is from the beta code of iOS 15.5 that was hinting at the fact that the News app is going to be getting a pretty big update. We don't know what this is. I think the layout of the News app is pretty nice. It looks pretty modern, so I don't think we need a redesign, but the rumors are pointing towards the fact that we may be getting some big changes to Apple News. And something else that's pretty cool is AR and VR capabilities could be within iOS 16. So what do I mean? Well, if you think back to iOS 8, the code in iOS 8 hinted at the Apple Watch because the iOS 8 beta came out before the original Apple Watch, and everyone was super excited because they found that hidden in the code. So we're thinking with iOS 16, the code is going to be there for what Apple is going to be coming out with in the AR VR world. So there's been rumors they were going to come out with Apple VR glasses or even augmented reality glasses. It's going to be called ROS or Reality OS, and apparently the rumors and leaks are pointing towards the fact that the code for this new ROS system is going to be hinted at in iOS 16. So one more related to health. If you remember a year ago, there was a rumor for iOS 15 that there was going to be a food nutrition tracking feature, and this never actually ended up coming to iOS. So maybe this could come in iOS 16. So what you're looking at here is Apple's health implementation that allows it to pull information from other apps. So I use the Lifesum app to track all my food intake, and it imports it right into the Health app. But maybe Apple could have this built in directly to iOS, and whenever Apple does something, they really do it well. So if Apple implements food tracking and food scanning of different products, allowing you to get the nutritional information of everything you're eating, I would definitely switch to that, as I would love using the native app instead of a third-party app. So we could potentially see some big nutrition updates in the Health app. And finally, to finish off this video, the release date for iOS 16 Beta 1 is going to be on June 6th. That is what we know. For as long as I can remember, Apple always releases the first beta of whatever iOS version they're showing off right after the keynote. So on June 6th, it is a Monday, I believe, that is when we'll be seeing iOS 16 Beta 1. As I make this video, that is only 54 days away, so we're getting pretty close. And my guess for the final release of iOS 16, I'm gonna guess, let's say September 23rd. It's usually later in September. I'm gonna guess that's also when the new iPhone 14s get released, but my prediction right here, mark the date, is September 23rd for iOS 16 to be released to the public. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I want you to comment down below telling me what features you would like to see in iOS 16, and also of the rumored features that I talked about in this video, which one are you most looking forward to seeing implemented in this upcoming software update that we're gonna see from Apple in just 54 days here. I really wanna hear what you guys have to say, so make sure to comment down below. All right, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, make sure to drop a like on this video. My name is Michael, and I'll see you in the next one.